Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one, I have for you a 3 versus 3 on tension. That's right, we're going to be having a look at the new urban map today. It is a masterpiece. It looks absolutely gorgeous. We have all of these destroyed buildings on each side near the deployment. And then we have the more intact buildings in the center with this main road that heads through the city, and then we have on this far side an open area that can be fought over with your tanks, and you can have the big battles over there. But today we're going to be focusing very much on the urban warfare because I'm going to be using the 11th Parachutiste. Now, I wanted to play this game with the 11th Parachutiste to try and test out my theory, which was that the 11th Parachutiste has benefited massively from this patch. With the veterancy changes, what it means is the infantry is incredibly strong now. A lot of the infantry, if not all of the infantry of the 11th, can be brought in at elite, or at least like the second level of veterancy, and then made elite by leaders nearby. And that is just incredible because the Apalas, their AT weapon, gets a lot of extra accuracy from the extra veterancy, making them super strong. The Mistral, which already has the best accuracy of manpads, gets buffed even more by the veterancy, so it's just incredible now. And their infantry on infantry capability is also super strong because of their weapons. So all in all, it's a very, very potent cocktail. The other thing that's changed is the availability of other divisions. Now, a while back, the 11th Parachutiste took a big nerf where they reduced the amount of Legionnaire Palas and stuff that you could bring in, but now a lot of the other divisions that also have a lot of elite infantry have had those nerfs done to them as well. So they've kind of been balanced out nicely, but it's kind of got to the point where the 11th has the most elite infantry out of any, and therefore you'll see it turns into an absolute bloodbath at the start of this game. I'm forced to unload a lot of my infantry onto the road here, but they're doing a good job killing all of these descents, which are much lower in number. You saw that my opponent brought in a bunch of helicopters, all of which got shot down by the multiple Mistrals that I brought in. And if I just show you, they're on 45% accuracy. With the 2 vet, it's going to be even more. So really, really scary. Legionnaire Pala moving up, getting 65% accuracy on the Apalas. Absolutely disgusting. MiG-25 RBF coming over with the bombing strike. Poor Sapper Pala out in the road still are going to get demolished. But yeah, the Mistrals there, it just like they don't miss. It's absolutely incredible. Anyway, the Spetsnaz really, really struggling, but we're off to a really, really good start on this right hand side. So Pada SAS benefiting from having the SIG and the 2 mini-me Padas. We got the Legionnaire Pada that have 9 FAMAS and the machine gun plus the Apalas. Like, these weapon systems are so good with the veterancy on top, and if I start to get leaders with them, it's going to make a massive difference. I do need to get a leader in here soon because you can see that our opponents have gone to +2. Because I haven't actually captured the stuff on the right hand side, but I did manage to finish off the Spetsnaz, so that's great. And now what I'm going to do is slowly work my way forwards with my infantry in order to get a better position to contest Juliet here. But meanwhile, let's have a good look around this map because, again, it's just an absolutely gorgeous map. It really is. You can follow the roads all over the place, and there is just something to see. We move into one of the destroyed neighborhoods over here. Let's head back towards the fighting as we see the T-80s and the BMPs fighting amongst the brush. And these sort of like more open areas in between the buildings do allow tanks and APCs to help provide fire support onto infantry engagements. In this case, my opponent here using the 35th. The 35th took a massive nerf bat to the face. They really lost out a lot. Their T-64s got removed, and with the changes, a lot of their like Desaniki aren't actually very elite. So their small squad size plus their lack of veterancy means they lose out pretty hugely to my large units with high veterancy, as you can probably imagine. And the Legionnaire Pala here with their Apalas, that thing has some decent range, 750 meters. And so if I can get in the building here, we might be able to pop the BMD2s and anything that I can't pop at close range. I can try and pop with the AML-90 links that you can see I'm using here in the backside. There it is. Shooting between the buildings, managed to pop off the BRDM there, get rid of some of the recon capability. Meanwhile, Spetsnaz pushing in at close range onto the Pala SAS. Not necessarily the best idea for him, as I do have satchel charges waiting. And the Spetsnaz do go down. Now, my main thought process here right now is I need to deal with his Spetsnaz. As soon as his Spetsnaz are dead, there is not actually that much, if at all, any infantry, elite infantry, that can match up to my own. So I'm trying to keep my own elite infantry alive whilst killing his elite infantry. He's going to be bringing in another Mi-24. Big mistake for him to try and rely so much on helicopters. The 35th is somewhat forced to do so now because of the way in which the deck is built. But against the 11th, with these Mistrals, the Mi-24V is really going to struggle to find any value. AML-90 going to continue to provide a bit of fire support in the meantime. Mistral's continuing to move forwards. I have brought in some of these logistics trucks to get my men back up to full strength. Logistics does take a little bit longer now to repair than it used to, and rearm and resupply infantry squads. You can increase the rate at which it resupplies by increasing veterancy now, which is pretty cool. Another introduction in the update. I actually kind of like that idea, in that you sacrifice availability on your logistics in order to make your logistics more effective, the ones that you actually have. Anyway, here comes some reinforcements, going to be landing on the road here, unloading my aeromobile, and then those Pumas going to be taking off and heading back to base. Really cool airdrop there, allowing me to bring in plenty of reinforcements. And one of my Super Pumas did take a hit, but we'll be able to retreat. Now I've got the Gazelles coming in as well. These are going to be able to sit on these roads, and I'm going to lower their altitude so that they can just shoot down the road with HGMs when they need to. First target though, going to be the BMD2. That's going to do a runner as those HGMs fly towards it. A couple of ERC-90 Sergeys on the way. Super fast. Get around this city very, very quickly. Great for dealing with these autocannon vehicles from range. At close range they will get absolutely ripped apart because they only have one armor. But at long range, that 16 penetration gun is actually very strong. So nothing to scoff at least. We can see here the smaller squads, the Descent Polamachiki, which are supposed to be pretty good at range due to their triple PKM, are actually losing out really, really easily to the Legionnaire Pala with this 2 veterancy. And you can see, like, veterancy, super, super important now, guys. I'm just going to keep reiterating that. If you are playing on this patch, which you should be, if you have the game, you have to vet your units now. Like, it's super, super important to make them effective. And because veterancy gives such a nice bonus. Okay, Afghansky going to be causing my Pala SAS a little bit of problems. Going to have to fall back there. I have moved up here. Going to be using my Legionnaire Pala and the MN Rebels to try and kill off another unit of Spetsnaz. My P4 PC, that's being brought forwards after capturing this back sector in order to provide me with extra veterancy here. So it's providing veterancy for my Sergeys, it's providing veterancy for the Mistral, and it's going to try and sneak in to the backside of the sector so that we can contest here as well and start to get an advantage. Nice kill actually onto the Mi-8 there, is going to take the infantry with it. We also took out the Mi-24V, so the Mistral's not really missing a shot. The other thing to consider is that AA, like surface-to-air missiles, are more accurate the closer you are to your target now. So the closer those helicopters get, the more accurate the Mistrals are. And that's the same for aircraft as well. So it can be really, really scary now to fly aircraft over AA because they will just kill it. Like, it's just as simple as that. There's like almost 100% hit chance when you fly directly over a man-pad squad. So you got to be really, really careful with that. I believe it's still going to be adjusted. Like, that's not always going to be the case. I think the idea of having them be more accurate the closer they are is good, but I think some units now need a nerf because of it. So we'll see if that comes through. Regardless, for now, you can see that I did have some nice engagements there. Managed to kill off another Spetsnaz squad. Now falling back. Need to bring up some more supply. But in the meantime, I was floating a little bit of points, as you can see. So I've opted to bring in a lot more chasseurs. These are the chasseur pada. Also on the backside here, the mortars have arrived. These are the VLRAs with the 81mm mortars. And they're simply there to harass enemy infantry as I try and make a push. So my chasseur pada, I just gave them a nice attack order at the back of the map that will keep them nice and spread out as they push forwards. And the idea is to make some ground with the mortar support at my back. And if I need to, I can smoke in front of them. But for the most part, I'm probably just going to be able to engage them with the FAMAS and machine gun at range in order to kill enemy infantry. And they also have the LRAC, which still has the 750 meter range, so we'll be able to kill vehicles relatively easy as well. But my good start has really allowed me to amass a lot of points because I was kind of just busy microing infantry in the meantime. I'm just going to have all the Legionnaire padas kind of fall back, ready to get resupplied by the VLRAs, and then allow the chasseurs to push forwards in their place. You can also see now I'm buying a lot of these ERC-90 Sages. That's going to be the next wave that follows up the chasseur pada, as the chasseur pada now push forwards and try and take ground. The Desaniki, again, just really not matching up. 6-man squad versus multiple 10-man squads. Completely outgunned. The best thing for my opponents to do right now is not to throw units forwards piecemeal, but instead to kind of save a bunch of units that he can use all in one go. But here comes the MiG-25 RBF once again. The Mistrals trying their best to get the shot on target, not quite hitting the mark, but the MiG-25 RBF certainly does, as he wipes out 4 infantry squads in one bombing strike. Nicely done. My chasseur pada forced to fall back on the left side at least as we bump into the Spetsnaz. I am able to take out the Afghansky, which is nice, remove some of that fire support against units on the ground. But yeah, definitely got punished there for keeping my chasseur pada too close together. And really nice MiG RBF strike. So you can see now the Gazelle is hovering really, really low. And it's going to be firing down that road. The ERC is driving really quickly underneath it. Yeah, same on this side. I have it on the low altitude setting so that it fires just down the road and doesn't reveal itself to anything else. Really, really nice tip. There is like a change altitude button if you press this cog, I believe. Or it might just be on the bottom right anyway. Definitely worth checking out. Anyway, another Spetsnaz unit taken care of. The ERC-90 Sages are going to be rolling in to help deal with these vehicles. So looking to kill off the BRDM-2 Conkers, kill off the BTR-80K on the backside, because meanwhile on the left over here, Endyminion's been pushed out of his sector. So we're currently losing the +2. Burden's under a little bit of pressure by Wooden. So I'm kind of trying to take this sector on the right so that we can cancel out that advantage that our opponent has. And I managed to get my chasseur pada so far up that my opponent's kind of not realizing how quickly I've moved up here, and I'm able to snipe a couple of his transports. So really just keeping the pressure up every time I'm getting kills, continuing to move forwards, and that's really sort of flowed from this point all the way through now to where my Chasseurs are on the far side. And that's going to make it very difficult for his infantry to push forwards, because none of this like destroyed terrain provides any cover. So once again here, the truck getting smacked by AT. That's actually killed off a nice AT weapon. The RC-90 is ready to shoot down the road onto the BMD-2s. The VLRAs still firing away constantly with their mortar fire. Now we got to clean up on the left. So now that I've basically taken this sector, there's not really much reason for me to like push towards the spawn. You can't decap spawns in WARNO. There's no such thing as a touchdown in WARNO, as we call it in Steel Division 2. So instead, the main option really is to just kind of set up a defensive line with a few units and then push to the left. Kind of swing in to the other players here rather than just my opponent. We managed to shoot down another helicopter, the Mi-24V going down. He's trying to bring up some Mi-2s to see what's going on as well, because he's probably struggling quite heavily for recon, but this is probably not going to be the best choice either, as the Mistrals are going to be able to clean up those Mi-2s very quickly indeed. And whilst they won't be able to one-shot the Mi-2, it's only going to take a couple shots to take them out of the sky. AMD-2's currently struggling to finish off the Legionnaire Para. I'm going to zoom forwards the RC-90s to engage these BMD-2s. And the BMD-2s are actually relatively scary in the sense that they are a 30mm, and they also have the Conkers now. They never used to have the Conkers, but it was added a patch or two ago. And now they are actually really something you've got to look out for in these engagements, because these Conkers can quickly take out tanks. Now that Su-25 really did a good job, took out pretty much all of my ERC-90 Sages there. I did manage to shoot it down, but it definitely paid itself off. Mortars still going to work. Got them all set up on their trucks further back, making sure to move them after they fire. Also back here we got all of the Pumas on the road. They are providing sort of like a forward fob for my VLRA logistics trucks to come back from forwards from in order to get my men back to full strength. Meanwhile, Legionnaire Para going to be shifting up on the left side here. And we're able to just pick off these individual units. It's quite easy for me to just keep running forwards here. The Para SAS want to get close anyway for using their satchel charges. The other benefit, of course, is that all of my infantry is shock infantry, so they are really good. Now, the great thing about Legionnaire Para is they have shock, but they also have resolute. And that resolute basically means they take less suppression in combat, which is why they win out on these infantry engagements so much better. Now, nice bombing strike there onto the infantry. It does take them out, but the MiG-25 RBF going to be going down, as I have got quite a few Mistrals now on this right-hand side. I got 6 total. I believe that was like pretty much all of my Mistrals in the deck, because Mistrals don't actually come in that high availability on a card. But Mi-8's going to be invested in. My opponent not really learning from his mistakes here, allowing my Mistrals to get loads of kills in this game. And he's going to be throwing in the towel. So, now that he's actually surrendered, what that is going to allow me to do is start focusing more to the left-hand side here. Start putting pressure into Taki, so the Endymion is not taking so much of a frontal attack. So I'm trying to flank into these smaller sectors in order to help out my teammates now and try and get ourselves back in the lead, because we are still behind in points, 318 points to 212. So the plan here to just push across with the VLRAs and the Chassapada and the Pada SAS and clean these out. Meanwhile, the logistics trucks can go backwards and forwards, keep them topped off, and that's pretty much just what I'm going to continue to do. I'm going to be sending forwards a Puma here, some of the supply to go and sort out all of these infantry units because there's 3 of them close together that need to be sorted, so just thought I would kind of risk sending a Puma forwards. The logistics trucks trying to get close again as well. And I've got P4PC here, you can see it's like ready to pounce and trying to clear out the motor stroking Metis so they don't send an ATGM at my command vehicle, but once those are dealt with I can just shift that in there, cap it quick and then move back out. But the Pumas sucked dry. See the supply there just getting completely used up in order to reman those squads. Pada SAS just doing so well. Like, these are such strong units. The fact they have like shock, they've got special forces trait, they've got the SIG which does extra damage. I believe it does more damage. Regardless, a strong squad. Very strong squad. Emmerville taking quite a lot of damage from the Afghansky there, so still got to be careful of these units that are coming at me, especially like the Spetsnaz, for example. They're still going to be a problem, so I would like to deal with them. My Monostroki Metis getting saturated with mortar fire is going to force them to run away, and we did manage to kill off one of the squads at least, so that was really, really nice. And now the AI taking the opportunity to counter-battering my mortars. Since my opponent left, we got really lazy with them. And then the AI just spanked me slightly there. I was actually lucky not to lose any of those mortars at all. But obviously them being damaged doesn't help, especially when I try and resupply them. It's also going to waste supply on repairing them as well. Anyway, Emmerville going to be forced to fall back. RC-90 Sage trying to shift into position to get line of sight here and help out. We're going to slowly try and wheel my way from right to left. I've got plenty of reinforcements coming in the form of these Aeromobiles in the Super Pumas that are going to be able to continue to push through here. And the MI8 getting taken out by these super strong man-pads. I've also got loads of Pada SAS on the way. We got more Legionnaire Pada on the way. Because once again, I was floating a lot of points. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send some of these Aeromobil over to the left-hand side. Because I noticed that the AI actually started pushing into Endymion as well. So Endymion was already kind of losing out to Taki here on the left-hand side. But then the AI is also putting pressure on him. So I'm going to send some of my Aeromobiles over to help secure this sector, whilst the rest of my forces can continue pushing towards their back sectors. And if I can get in the backside here, we can sort of start to cut off some of these reinforcements, which will eventually lead to us being able to contest Echo. And then if Endymion can get back on his feet, we can contest Delta again. All the while, I am managing to hold on to this right hand side. The AI stopped pushing me directly from the spawn here and then started pushing in from this direction instead, which is what's allowed me in a lot of ways to just continue to push in this direction. But the Legionnaire Pada have now arrived in the VLRAs, and we're going to be shifting through with those, and those nasty Apalas will shortly be on target. Also on the backside here, still got my my Pada SAS, got the group Antichar there as well. These are double Apalas squads, which again benefit massively from the veterancy changes. But here comes P4PC moving forwards to fully capture this sector, and that's going to once again cancel out the lead that our opponents had in terms of ticking points, because Wooden Box has managed to push Burdened out of this sector on the left hand side. So it's really on me to try and take as much ground in the town as possible, and if I can, then we can start to gain a points advantage. But here we go, finally going to be using my VLRAs with the Pada SAS and get the group anti-char back forwards as well. So we've pretty much fully secured this area. The next thing I need to do is try and get into range of these tanks. Endymon's going to run forwards with the Jaegers. He does manage to get some shots on target, but the Jaegers Panzerfaust 44 not the best AT weapon in the world against T-80BVs because it only has 14 penetration, whilst the T-80BV has 17 front armor. But nasty Su-17s coming in with those AT missiles, hoping that I can shoot some of them down for him. Managed to take out one of my Mistrals as they come out overhead. Unfortunately, he does lose one of his tanks to it, but as the second one flies overhead, we're looking to finish it off. And this Mistral right here, sealing the deal. Good stuff. So, making another push now, as you can see, to the next line of buildings. We are currently being pushed in quite heavily here by Wooden Box. He's brought over his swarms of T-55s. However, behind these buildings, I have 3 squads of Group Anti-Char, which are basically made for this situation, where we can demolish multiple tanks in a row. MiG-27 coming in with the napalm is going to somewhat friendly fire. It targeted these Chasseur Pada, and yeah, it does a lot of damage to them for sure. Same with the Legionnaire Pada, especially since they decide to run straight into the flames when they're routing. Not the best idea. But yeah, the Group Anti-Char, they're ready and waiting for these T-55s to just get a little bit too close. And all the while, going to be continuing to sweep across the VLRAs with their 50 cal, going to be providing nice fire support onto this infantry as well. So, continuing to sweep across, you can see that the pressure has been taken off Endymion quite substantially. Burden's now come over and is helping in the town as well, since he's lost control on the left side. So we're really starting to focus on capturing all of these objectives in the town, and that could lead to us grabbing a lot of conquest points. Now the 11th, they're really, really good on the ground with their infantry, but they're also really, really fantastic in the sky. And you can see in the bottom left, I'm starting to buy in all of my aircraft to deal with this swarm of T-55s and the T-72 there. So Mirage F1 CT coming in for a bombing strike. This one going to be going for another bombing strike as well. We got the Mirage 5 going for the bombing strike onto the Strela 10 M3. HE bomber landing right on top of all these T-55s, doing tons of damage, followed up by the Jaguar for the kill there. Really, really good stuff. So plenty of damage done. The Monostralki coming in from Taki here, trying to sneak it into this area, I'm sure. That is slowly but surely being picked off. Meanwhile, Gazelle Hot 2s coming up. They're going to be able to do quite a lot of damage actually to these tanks, these T-55s. There's no AA left close because I actually purposefully targeted a lot of the AA with my own aircraft. Admittedly, it's not always the best idea to do that, especially in this patch, because the aircraft, or like AA, again, as I mentioned before, is more accurate the closer you get. So if you try and actually dive AA, AA will generally win out now. But because I brought in so many aircraft at the same time, I kind of overwhelmed them slightly. And they didn't have too much AA on the field in the first place. Anyway, LGB's coming in. T-80BVK. Bam, right in the top of that. F1 CT actually getting out as well, surprisingly. But lovely kill onto the T-80 there. T-72 coming in onto the left side, looking for the cluster strike with the Jag here. But meanwhile, I'm going to be sending more Gazelle cannons to the center. I've also opted to bring up 2 VBL PCs because I figured that I'm going to need to try and contest these throughout the game. And there goes the cluster once again. Fortunately got hit by a missile, so not quite getting the job done. You can see we have managed to capture back this objective thanks to Burden's leader. We managed to capture this one due to my little jeep earlier. And my VBL is going to be zooming down this road looking to capture here. Since the motor strike is so far back, I should be able to sneak it. At least that was my thought process. Now on this right hand side, the Gazelle cannons rocking up, able to help deal with the BMD2s and the Motostraki Metis. There we go. They're getting hit very, very hard there. So Strela 10 M3s being brought in by Taki to take care of those. Yeah, the VBL currently contesting. Just got to get rid of this BTR 80K back here, and that's exactly where the airmobiles are trying to get to. So I've managed to push through here, and now we're sweeping to the left, trying to get the comeback for our team. We are taking a ton of damage back here, as Wooden, he has pushed in from this side and come into our flank. But now having to deal with all the reinforcements coming in at close range, particularly these Challengers and Leopards, it's going to be tough for his T-72s to deal with. I managed to take out the BTR 80K. The VBL still alive for the time being, so that's helping us out quite a lot. And what I'm going to do is just going to slip it out of that sector. No need to keep it in there while there's no contesting CV. And I'm going to be able to use it to just provide extra veterancy in the meantime. Gazelle Hot 2s have been continuing to put the pain on. We're sitting at the +5 now. I brought in a bunch of these Para P4 Milans. Now these Para P4 Milans, much better than they used to be as well, because they now have good stealth again. They used to have good stealth before, but then they got nerfed, and now they've been buffed again. Yeah. But basically, now they have that stealth. You can use them in tree lines, in forest areas, to kind of ambush your enemy a bit more, which is nice. Now my center area here getting a little bit sparse. I am slowly being sort of whittled down in the face of all of this fire support from the T-72s and the constant advance of enemy infantry. But still have a Gazelle cannon there. It's going to help out a lot. The mortars are going to be able to hit relatively well. The mortars, they don't do a lot of damage, but they do enough to like chip and lower the cohesion, which allows my infantry to win those engagements. And then meanwhile on the right, AI's kind of just trying to push in here, but not doing too great. Taki's also sending some units in here, but they're getting picked off. Decent hit there actually onto the T-ATBV by the P4 Milan. Yeah, now we're sitting at the +4. The T-72s on the left side have been mostly dealt with. So now it's just a matter of trying to secure this center area where a lot of our opponents are fighting against us. So I'm actually going to be trying to strafe the Strela 10M with the Mirage 2000s as the Jaguar comes in for the cluster strike onto the enemy command. Unfortunately, I missed the enemy command. My Mirage 2000s over here going to get chased off by the AI's MiG-29. But it seems like Taki ran out of steam. Wooden Box called the game as well, and we're going to be given the victory. So in the end, pretty good job by the 11th Parachutiste. We get 9,790 kills to 5,205 losses, which is a lot of kills in 31 minutes, that's for sure. So Legionnaire Para really doing very well. Against the smaller units with less veterancy, they're just absolutely destroying them. But check out the kills on the Mistrals. The Mistrals, really, really strong right now. Like, absolutely incredible unit. The Sergei helped me out at a distance. Quite significantly as well. These Chasseur Para only came in at 1 vet, but because I had leaders with them, they were also extremely effective. And that's something also to consider. Like, you don't have to have everything at high veterancy, but if you have leaders with them, that's even better now. Like, leaders have become actually really, really important to have with your units now, because veterancy is just so good. But again, a Mistral. Getting multiple kills there. Aeromobile doing well for me. The aircraft, not doing fantastic, but yeah, I bought them in because I had extra points and nothing much else to spend it on. In the end, really fun game. Maybe showed off some of the downsides to urban combat at the moment. I feel like, you know, elite infantry is really just like rampaging through these towns, and if you don't have any, it's kind of hard to hold it back. Like a big offender right now is the SAS, for example. But we'll see how things go. I think after this patch is a massive move in the right direction, but there's now going to be retroactive balancing changes to make on units that are overperforming. So we'll see that moving forwards. And yeah, this was a really fun game, and it gave me an opportunity to show off the new map, of course, which is really cool. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.